I'm just chilling and making art. And maybe Charlie will join us if he feels like it. Right now, Charlie's being Charlie, doing Charlie things. So, Charlie's obviously gonna do his Charby things. I'm gonna sit here and draw. Because that's what Charlie does. Charlie does Charlie things. Char, are you gonna come help? Charlie is giving me the talk to the butt. My face don't care right now, so. Obviously, Charby's not interested. Anywhoozle, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you've seen my post about that, awesome. If not, please go check it out. I am trying to bring awareness to all forms of mental health, men included. Next month is Men's Mental Health Month, as well as Pride Month. I will be doing both simultaneously. But, on a serious note, mental health is extremely important, and you're not weak for reaching out for help, because everybody needs help sometimes, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. The most common mental illnesses that are seen, and this is just from my personal experience and research, the most common mental illnesses are depression, anxiety, ODD, or no, not ODD, OCD, and schizophrenia. Those are the most common mental health problems seen. I myself have 2 of them. I have, well, 3 total. 2 types of anxiety, and yeah, that's alright. I don't mind that nobody's here. Like I said, I'm just talking about mental health awareness because this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I wanted to bring some light onto struggles that people with mental health problems face. Because while some people think mental illness or mental health is someone being lazy or uninterested or seeking attention, those are factually incorrect statements. People with mental health issues actually suffer and have true problems, and they're not just making it up for attention. People with depression often withdraw. They become less interested in things that used to make them happy. They don't talk to anybody. They isolate, and they start to... Some people with depression often isolate. They stop eating or overeat because they no longer care, and it becomes a vicious cycle where some people inevitably do not survive because they feel there is no other option. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring about is a depression awareness. For those who did not know, the semicolon is the international symbol for depression and suicide awareness. If you did not know, I myself have a semicolon for my battle with depression. And the semicolon represents where your story could have ended, but it didn't. So that is what the semicolon represents. It was actually a mental health movement a few years ago, and I actually got my semicolon not too long ago. Yeah, I do like drawing. The next common mental health issue or mental illness is anxiety. There are many types of anxiety. I do not know about the other types or what it's like to have them, but I personally have social anxiety disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. So I will speak on those two because I have personal experience with those. And this is just my personal experience, this is not everybody's. So what I experience with these two anxiety disorders may be completely different from somebody else who has the same ones. For me personally, before I got diagnosed, and before I even knew I had these two anxiety disorders, I was often withdrawn. I would not socialize. If I was made to socialize, I would freak out. I would think everybody's watching me. I would become so paranoid to the point where I would have panic attacks just from socializing, and I would pretty much refuse to talk to anybody. And I would isolate and stay away. Now, with generalized anxiety disorder, that is persistent worry or fear over pretty much everything. So your brain goes from 0 to 100. So, for example, with me, when my generalized anxiety really hits hard, for example, if one of my family members went off somewhere and they said, okay, I'll call you when I get there, and then it's hours later and they don't call, my brain doesn't think, oh, they forgot to call. My brain goes, oh dear Lord, what the hell happened? Are they alive? Are they breathing? Did they get in a car crash? Like, that is pretty much generalized anxiety disorder. Your brain doesn't stop. It literally goes from what could have happened or the smallest thing to the, like, Mount Vesuvius of worst scenarios ever, which is really rough. Another known mental health problem is schizophrenia. I personally do not have this, nor have experience about it. But I have heard that it is very tough for people to live with, and it can be very detrimental. That's about all I know. As I said, I do not have any experience with it, or know anybody that has it. But mental health is very important, and it needs to be taken seriously, because when it's not, people often decide they no longer want to be on this plane of existence and proceed to not exist. And a lot of common things is one big one that everyone seems to like act all weird about is suicidal ideation and the signs to look out for. A lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know. Well, one of the most common signs is people who are thinking about it or are planning it or have planned it and are getting ready to enact it, is they often give things that they treasure themselves to the people they love and say, oh, I was just thinking of you and I noticed you really like this that I have, so I'm going to give it to you. And they'll give their most prized possessions away. Most people overlook it. They don't see it as a sign, but that is one of the most common signs. Another one is they often joke about dying or death, and they go, oh, I'm not really thinking about it, when deep down they probably are. So that's another one to look out for, is they will often joke about it in a really, really horrific manner, and they'll be like, oh, I'm just joking. Most times they're not just joking, they're serious. Another one to look out for is increased spending habits or increased carelessness, because most people, before they decide to go, they often become really reckless with their spending, because they're like, oh, well, this isn't going to matter. I'm not going to be here in X amount of time. I might as well go all out. Another thing is if you notice the depressed person becoming happy all of a sudden, without any change, without any medication, without any therapy or anything, and they suddenly become happy, that is a very, 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 very big sign. That is often the last sign before they decide they're done with the planet, because that means they've already planned it and they're planning to enact it. So if you know a depressed person that out of nowhere suddenly seems like life is fantastic and it's the best thing ever, and they're not getting help, please, please, please help them, because they are probably going to enact their plan and act on these thoughts. That is, those are some of the big signs of suicidal ideation that people go through. And people say, oh, I didn't know until it was too late. No, those are the biggest signs to look out for with someone with depression. Or anything like that. Those signs are like the top giant red flag going, they need help. They are drowning. They are below the water, and everybody's just swimming past them and not helping. Well, in that case, if you see those signs, you probably should stop and help them, because they're probably thinking of something that can't be reversed. Once again, that's just the signs of suicidal ideation. Those are very big. They're not talked about a lot because a lot of people think it's taboo and they don't want to talk about it, which I understand. It is a very sensitive subject. As someone who has had a family member attempt that several times, I have learned the signs to look out for so I can help them better. My father actually lost a friend to suicide because he was just, nobody saw the signs until he was gone. So if you know somebody with depression, check in on them every so often, invite them out, say, hey, can I come over and hang out, check on them, because they could just be suffering in silence and you won't know until they're unfortunately gone. That is one of the big, horrible things about depression, is it is a constant battle, even with medication and therapy. It is still a long haul. I personally started my journey dealing with my depression when I was 16. I had depression about a few years prior, but I didn't get formally diagnosed until my mom noticed something was not right with me when I was 16. So actually this year marks, I believe, 3 years. It'll be 3 years next month that I started my antidepressants and my journey of battling my depression, which is a very, very big achievement. Some people don't make the long fight. It's a constant choice to make that fight. And once you get to a place where you are kind of back on your feet and you're more stable thanks to help and support and medication and whatnot, it's a lot easier to fight that battle. Once again, going back to my tattoo, it's a phoenix with a semicolon. The phoenix was my battle of rising from the ashes, and the semicolon is my story could have ended, but I chose to keep going because I have people that need me and love me. But this month, in order to the most common color recognized for Mental Health Awareness Month is green. So any shade of green represents Mental Health Month. That way, if you can't donate to a charity or whatnot or help out, wearing green just brings awareness to the mental health cause, because mental health is very important, and it shouldn't be taken lightly or taken as a joke. And this is the most common one I've seen. People on social media, some people will use it as a joke or a trend and make it funny, when in actuality it's not a joke, and it's a very, very hard and dark battle to face. Because mental health is a lot of steps in order to get better. First, you have to admit, there's something wrong. Then you have to go through therapy and doctor's visits and medication changes. Some people even go to mental health facilities to get better, to get themselves back on track, because they do want to live. Mental health is a very long journey, and when you have support, it's a hell of a lot easier. But I do want to bring awareness to it because I suffer with mental illness. My sibling suffers with mental illness. My mom suffers with mental illness, and so does my father. We all suffer from different forms of mental illness. And I wanted to bring awareness because I knew a friend, and I'm not going to say their name or anything because I'm not going to do them like that. I had a friend not too long ago, about a year or two ago, unfortunately, attempt to decide not to be part of the world any longer. Fortunately, they were revived and brought back. I still keep in contact with them, but yeah, definitely check in on loved ones, especially those you know that are dealing with mental illness and whatnot, because they are often the ones that decide to remove themselves from the planet. And everybody needs a good support system. So even if you're struggling and you think you're alone, trust me, you're not alone. Even if it feels like you are 7.5 feet under that water and you cannot breathe, somebody will grab your hand and pull you to shore to help you. You just have to take the first step. And even if you don't want to take the first step, people that love you will take that first step with you and walk you through it. They will do the baby steps with you. I know my mom did. Not everyone's lucky to have their parents or family take those first steps to recovery with them. I was fortunate enough to have that. But for those who don't have that, in their lives, find friends. Find people that you absolutely trust. Those will be your rock. They will be the ones to help you get better. They will be the ones that will cheer you on at every single milestone that you hit. For me, my personal milestone, and I don't share this often, but in honor of Mental Health Month and wanting to show people that it does get better, even though it is very dark at first and you think, this isn't going to get any better, there's no hope, there's no chance, I might as well just give up. My very first milestone that I met 3 years ago when I started my antidepressants, my very first milestone was actually eating meals on time and actually eating a healthy amount. Because for a while before my antidepressants, I went to the doctor about, I would say 4 or 5 months prior, and she looked at me and she said, on your record it says you've been fainting and you have very low iron and your vitamin levels are extremely low. And she said, are you eating? I said, yeah, maybe once a day, if that. And of course she sent me to a therapist, and that kind of kick-started it before getting my medication. But here I am 3 years later, and I can actually eat a full meal and eat on time, and I'm a lot more social than I used to be. That was my next milestone, was becoming more social, and less recluse and isolated. I actually started doing things more. But yeah, everyone's mental health journey is different. Everyone's milestones are completely different. I'm actually, and to this day, I'm still working on my social anxiety. Even though I have an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety pill, I'm still working on my social anxiety. I'm working on being able to order my own food still. I'm still working on being able to have a conversation and be around groups of people without absolutely freaking out and panicking or having a panic attack. Which I will say, it's not easy. I'm not gonna lie. It is absolutely not easy. Personally, I still struggle with it. Ironically enough, I want to be a teacher, and I struggle with still holding conversations and speaking in public. I know, the irony here. but I'm getting a lot better. So, in this month of mental health, please check on your loved ones, check on your friends, check on the people that have just gone completely radio silent or have just stopped socializing and stopped talking and just kind of completely just gone off grid. Those are the people that you need to check on first. Check on the loved ones that seem really, really happy, seem, like everything is great, or, they're giving away things that they value a lot. Check on them, because checking on them could be a matter of them staying on this planet or them deciding life's not worth living. And they need that help, that support to know that somebody, someone, anybody still cares about them, still loves them, still values their life, still cherishes them, and still wants them to be around. Because, like I said, mental health is a very serious matter. It is not a joke. It is not a game. It is not a social media trend. It is a very serious problem that can have very, very serious permanent consequences if not taken seriously. So, like I said, I wanted to bring awareness. Of course, I will put a trigger warning on the video because I do mention suicidal ideation and whatnot. I don't want to trigger anybody, so I will put a trigger warning on the video when I post it. But like I said, I just wanted to make everyone aware that this month is Mental Health Month, that it is important, and it needs to be taken extremely seriously. And this part right here, this segment coming up right now, is for all the men out there. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think, you're macho man and you don't need to cry. Real men cry. Real men cry. It's okay to cry. Okay? Cry. Let it out. It is okay to cry. Crying is a human emotion. Everybody cries. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think you're too burly or too macho or too manly to cry. If you gotta cry, let it out, bro. Cry. It doesn't matter who you are. Real men cry because everybody cries. I personally won't judge you. If you decide to bawl like a baby, go right ahead. I'll hold your hand and call you the toughest bro I have ever met. Because real men cry. And the reason that suicide statistics are so far higher for men is because of society's standards for them. Society puts them on this whole fucking train that they need to be, I don't know, trying to think of the manliest man that people compare themselves to, but I honestly don't know. But, society makes them think they have to be this, super macho, tough guy that doesn't cry, that, doesn't do none of that, doesn't, show any emotion. Well, guess what? Suck it up, society. Men are gonna cry. Men are gonna show emotion. And if you don't fucking like it, you can shove it in your pipe and smoke it. Because so many men, so many women, so many everybody decide they're done living because society fucking sucks. And I want every man to know that if you gotta cry, bro, be the toughest man you know and fucking cry. Sob like a goddamn baby if you have to. Let it out, bro. You are tough. You are a burly man. Fucking cry. Because your life matters. And if you gotta cry because you're upset or everything is just too fucking much, well, guess what, bro? Fucking cry. Your life matters too much for you to just give up because you think you're not manly enough because you have to cry or because you showed an emotion. Fuck society. I don't give a damn what society says. Your mental health and your life is extremely fucking important. So if you gotta cry, fucking cry. You gotta be angry, be angry. You gotta be upset, bro. Life ain't fair. Life sucks. Cry if you got to. Talk to a therapist. Talking to a therapist don't make you a wuss. It makes you the toughest person I know. I talk to therapists. I personally have been through, let's see, middle school, high school, 7, 8. I've been through at least 7 or 8 different therapists, okay? So if you gotta go to a therapist, bro, go. Go to the nearest therapist. Make an appointment. Hell, if you want to stay anonymous or don't, are too scared to, dude, here's your motivation. Go to a therapist. They don't judge. Their job is to listen and help. That's a therapist's job. They're supposed to help you. That's what they do, bro. So, even if you think it's not manly to cry or seek help, it is very manly. Strong people seek help. Strong people seek help because they know they want to be better. They want to do better. They want to have that joy in living. So, bro, if you gotta go to therapy, go to therapy. Hell, I'll cheer you on every step of the way. I don't care. And this next part is for all of my minorities, because most of the minorities often do struggle with more mental health due to other stigma surrounding race or culture. So I want to say right now, you matter. Your life matters. You are more than what some fucking stereotype says. You're more than whatever some asshole on the fucking street says you are. You are amazing. You are wonderful. And if you need help, please seek the help. Sure, judgment is going to hurt. It is going to seem like the whole world is against you. But once you get that help, you will feel better. And you are valued. Don't think that your life means less or that you are less because you're different. Every person on this planet is different, whether it's in some damn way or another. Okay? So please, if you are feeling like everything is too much or you're just done existing, please go seek help. Please. I know it may not be what you think it is, or it may not be all sunshine and rainbows, because I can tell you right now, it's not. Healing is not all sunshine and rainbows. It is often the hardest thing you can do. But please, take care of yourselves. Please go seek help if you are feeling down, depressed, like you don't want to be on this planet anymore. Please seek help. You deserve to live. You deserve to have good things. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve all the good things that can happen. So please, this mental health month, look out for yourselves. Check on people that you know are suffering, or that could be. It could be the difference between having another day with them and having to go visit their tombstone. That's how mental illness is. It is literally the difference between having another day to spend with them and them becoming just a memory, what could have been, what should have been, what I wanted. It's the very very real, very hard difference between they are and they were. It's the hugest difference between referring to them as they are so awesome or they were so awesome. That is the sad reality of mental illness. Is it is a huge jump from they're one day they're here and the next they're just a faded picture on your wall and you're going to visit their tombstone because they didn't want to exist, because they didn't feel like they had a reason. So, I'm going to end this live stream. I will do another one, probably in a few minutes, but remember to take care of yourselves and check in on those that are at risk or just haven't been themselves lately. Because the cold hard truth is, at the end of the day, you checking in on them can be the very real difference of them having another day with you and you getting to tell them how much you love them, and them just being another tombstone in the cemetery that you're going to visit because you didn't know that they were suffering. So, please, check in on them, and remember to take care of yourselves. This world right now is crazy, and social media is even crazier. Sometimes you just have to take a break, step back, and come back again.